I have a question for your dad. Can I ask your dad a question?
Sure.
Okay. Nick, so do you, is it hard to know when to push Chris and motivate him and know when to, is it hard to know what his capabilities truly are? Is it hard to know when he's being earnest about if he's too tired or not? Like, I could imagine that might be tough to kind of know. Has that been interesting to learn?
Great question, because he has learned how to manipulate all of us.
My man.
He has learned when he wants something, how to actually put on an act. And so at first, when he hit that wall, I would think, oh, he's done. But then I started to test him a little bit, and I realized that that was an act and that he could keep going. And so it was a learning experience. And I've learned how to help him mentally overcome a lot of what's going on in order to help him build a strong mental attitude that helps him fight through. Because as you can imagine, everything I've been told, Ironman is 90% mental. The body can handle so much more than the mind can handle. So a lot of the training was mental. It was teaching him how to overcome that mental pain that hits you. And so for him, tired is pain. And so I had to learn how to figure out when that was real, when it wasn't, how to deal with it. And it's been a fascinating journey the last year, teaching him mental toughness. He is as mentally tough as anybody you're ever going to meet now.
Wow.
What he had to go through to do that Ironman, he essentially went from a 14-mile sprint, which is, what a lot of people start out with, to a 140-mile Ironman in about 10 months, which is unbelievable. And he did it with all kinds of obstacles, including that he can't ride aero, right, which is in a downward position, which is about 30% more efficient than the average person. He can't ride with clip-ons on his feet. He has to ride with flat, which is another 30%. And then he crashed his bike in the middle of the race, so he had to stand up with the blood and the pain. He got bit by fire ants, and so his legs were all swollen up throughout the whole thing. All of that is about mental toughness. Physically, he was beat up and bruised and everything. And when he wanted to quit at every stage, he just got tougher and tougher. And at mile 13, as he said, when every bone in his body, every muscle ached, everything told him to quit, he just toughened up. And mentally, the whole year was about teaching him mentally how to overcome those obstacles. And now I know that he can handle anything in life, because mentally, doesn't matter what hits him, he's never going to quit. He knows how to fight through it.
Was he always like that, or it's definitely you've noticed something that was learned?
No, it's something that's been learned in the last year. Wow. He was never like that. It's been, and that's the good news, right? For anybody, is that you can learn mental toughness. He learned mental toughness in the last year.
You must be so proud of him, huh?
I think he's amazing. Every day he just surprises me by how tough he is, how resilient he is, how much he learns, and what a great attitude he has in terms of what he does. And what I've noticed, the greatest thing of all is the impact he's having on other people. Love you, baby.
Yeah, me too,
He's changing
man.
lives, man. He's showing people like me and my wife, who were devastated when he was first diagnosed with Down syndrome. For 20 years, we thought he couldn't do anything. Now, what he's showing the world is that there's a whole world of possibilities out there. So yeah, I'm proud of him, but I'm just so excited about the mission he has to make a difference in the world and to help others like him and like us.
I said when Miss name was right there.
Which one, Sweet Pea?
When I was on the bike.
When you were on the bike? Oh, they were everywhere. They came to see you because they had kids with Down syndrome and they wanted to see it.
Wow.
And people came from everywhere.
Did they?
With their kids with Down syndrome, and they wanted to see if this was real.
Do you feel like, I notice it even just in my own life, like I had to work so hard, and even just in comedy, to get a foothold of my own, and then at certain points you feel like he wants you to be a part of a mission, or, and it's natural, I think, to have those thoughts. It's normal, because you're like, why has so much been and it's not a ton, but why have I been focused on? Why is, the light of the world or whatever, or a journey of the world been kind of like attached to me in some way? I can only imagine that a lot of that kind of happens with Chris. Chris, do you feel like God has a special plan for you?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, huh?
He had a plan to make sure that I didn't get the woman.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's going to happen easy.
Like,
So, Chris,
what's the need pack?
I know. So what about all of those social media posts from all the moms and dads with kids with Down syndrome that you read all the time? What are they saying?
Those moms with Down syndrome, they're saying, I'm the hero to the kids and never can change that.
How does that make you feel?
It feels like I'm inspired and ready to work harder, 5 to 10 times harder.
That's interesting, man. Yeah, you're definitely an inspiration. Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to feel like you're then like kind of part of this bigger journey, this bigger picture journey of inspiring people.
Well, I'll tell you, we believe that God has his hand in this one for Chris, and he's using Chris as a way to give hope to a lot of others like him and create a community of inclusion. And because what Chris is doing is not just for Down syndrome, he's actually creating a whole community around him people are volunteering and helping, and they're seeing how wonderful it is to be part of a community like that. And I tell people, if you don't believe that God had his hand on this one, let me tell you a story. Before November 7th in 2020, every full Ironman in the world was canceled. Right, buddy? After November 7th, every one was canceled. But November 7th, when Chris was doing it, it was the only one that was on.
Really?
The only one in the world.
And you guys had already booked that in advance?
We booked it a year in advance, and we told everybody, God's not going to let this one get canceled.
Wow.
And people said, you're crazy. They're all canceled. They're all being canceled. I said, yes, except this one. God wants Chris to do something special in this one. So he's going to make sure this one doesn't get canceled. And it didn't get canceled, and Chris shocked the world. And so the only one Chris was registered for is the only one that happened.
Wow. Oh, that's powerful.
And then everybody told us he's not going to handle the water because the waves are so big and wild. I said, don't worry, God's going to calm the water that day. And then he said, well, he's going to this. I said, don't worry, God's going to take care of it.
And were you scared, Chris? Were you scared or not?
At first, I knew that they choppy, but kept going.
Yeah.
And how close is your dad when you're actually racing? Do you have someone that are racers allowed to have a assistant with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Special Olympics, there's a guide, someone who's with them the whole time.
Okay.
So he had a guide, Dan Grebe, who's been an angel sent to us to help him through this.
Right.
And Dan was like the perfect person brought into his life. And then, he had Carlos, who's also helped him. Dan's a business person in Orlando. Carlos is a federal judge.
Wow.
Jennifer is an executive at Disney. These are all people who came around him, who God brought to him, who are the perfect personality, the perfect people, the perfect backgrounds to guide him through this journey and to help him do something big. So God had his hand in this the whole time.
I'm just sitting on your front porch, wondering how could I be so far from my home? And my mind is somewhere else, but when I find it, I'll patch up where it's been blown.